In the description are my three films, The Trap, Case of Death, and The Man Who Died. If you enjoy them, pass them on to other people. Much appreciated. So Death Ship is this film from the 1980s, early 1980s, maybe 1980. I think it was 1980 perhaps. And yeah, it's an unusual film. It's got a good vibe to this movie. I liked some of the vibe and stuff in this movie. But I want to talk about propaganda in this film, which is off the fucking charts. It's not even propaganda. Propaganda, the best kind of propaganda is when you don't notice it. It's just say the propaganda in Die Hard. I done this video a few weeks back called Cook Hard. And that was very good propaganda. Very good feminist propaganda. And so they can tax the other half of the population and they can take children away from the parents and the mother. And, so have this Holly McClane douchebag with her fucking poofy hair. And, I had a job. I had an offer I had to take. That's how the masters, the bankers, fuck around with their heads. So films like Die Hard was good because that was an offshoot of the movie, a side story to the main story. So you have this guy, John McClane, who is very, very tough, and he's very kind of like resilient, taking on these terrorists, and is tough as fuck and takes them all on. But the side thing is that you get to identify with him as this strong, masculine presence, but he also bows down to the woman and says, you can split the family up, you can take a corporate job and go 3,000 miles away. It's very sneaky propaganda. And Die Hard is one of the most revered films to this day, right? So propaganda, the best kind of propaganda is the propaganda that's in movies like Die Hard, because you don't notice it because of all the other stuff that's going on. The helicopters going through the streets, and it's a fantastic film, regardless of the propaganda, right? It's a fantastic movie. Die Hard is a superb movie. The choppers going through the buildings, and the building jump when he jumps off the building and he explodes. It's fantastic, man. But the propaganda is there, and I see that, and sometimes I like to mention it, even though most people see no problem with the world, and and that's fine. You don't have to, but it's going to swallow everyone up at some point, and we're going to come to a point where it's going to be there's going to be conflict, okay, because of not just the filthy, dirty rodent rat enemy. They're disgusting. They're pieces of rat shit. But it's the people that they own are even worse. They're even worse because they're selling out their own people and selling out their own nations and everything for these filthy, grubby fucking bankers, right? So back to Death Ship and the propaganda in this. And this is right in your face, right? This is right in your face. This is a ship, a death ship, and it's a Nazi torture ship, and it goes around and it sinks other ships, and if there's any survivors, they go onto the ship, and it's a demonic kind of ship run by the spirit of National Socialism. It doesn't mention anything about the economic miracle. It doesn't mention anything about that they didn't start the war. In fact, they say things to the contrary. In one scene, one of the young kids finds a magazine and says, "Who's this?" "Oh, Adolf Hitler." And the little boy goes, "Who's Hitler?" And the woman says, "Oh, a rather unpleasant man. He started World War II. See, that's propaganda going into your soft pudding brain through loads of movies, out of Hollywood, right? So Germany did not start World War II. Germany was started by England, okay, and France. That's who started World War II. Okay, but they say, oh, they started because they invaded Poland. No, but they didn't start the war. They went into Poland for a certain reason. They went into Danzig for a certain reason, okay, because it was taken off them with the Versailles Treaty in World War One, and there was most of the population in Danzig were German, and there was a lot of. It's easy to get people into a war. You incite people to riot, so they do something, and then when they do something, because you have to do something sometimes in this world, right? Then they say, oh look, they're aggressive. They started the war. Well, Russia attacked Poland at the same time, but England didn't declare war on Russia because they sided with the communists in World War II. You understand? So we have England to thank for all of Europe being replaced right now. So England's been destroyed. All the other European countries now have been destroyed, you know, and we have England to thank for that, and Churchill, and maybe even as far back as when Cromwell made a certain decision, you know, but so we have England to thank for that. Fuck England, they deserve everything they're going to get, but look, everything they've got, right, and they'll never own up to what they've done in World War II, that they sided with the communists, okay, and so did America. Okay, and the bankers. So we have high inflation right now, and just these devious people running amok in the banking industry. Everything going up. The house prices are skyrocketing. So we have England to thank for a lot of that. Oh, the British and the monarchy. We have them to thank for a lot of that. And like I said, fuck England, and fuck most of the English people as well, who don't change their mind in what happened. You have to change your mind when other evidence is right there in front of you on the fucking internet. So Death Ship. Yeah, so it has connotations to the event of the Holocaust in World War II, which you have to look into yourself. You can't just listen to these movies, right? You can't just listen to these movies and go, oh, like, I heard it or seen it in a movie, and that's, it's very easy to tell a story, a false story, and get everyone to believe in it, right? Right, so just a side note on actors. Actors in movies, right? Whether it's George Kennedy in this movie or whoever, they'll just do whatever's in the script. There's 100,000 other actors waiting to take their place. They're not going to say no because they have if they even knew something. I see all these actors, Russell Crowe was on Joe Rogan there not so long ago, and he's done his propaganda movie Nuremberg, which is a complete fucking lie, in so many areas, and they're on there talking together, these shills talking together, and how they're all sellouts because they don't even investigate what movies they're making. Is it propaganda or not? Am I lying or not? Am I just a cleverly disguised propagandist for these people that are paying me a hell of a lot of money? Most of the time, you'll come back with the answer that it's yes, right? So Death Ship is laughable in the propaganda area, right? It's laughable, when you see that it's just like a Nazi torture ship, and some of the scenes in it, man, and some of the sounds screeching into your ears, the German voices barking orders through the tannoy system. It's done very, very well, but it's done in a way that's kind of like, it's reminiscent of, like I said, the Holocaust in certain scenes, and it's to shoot this vision of World War II from the German side into your brain, so it stays there in your emotions and everything. If you're interested in World War II and you're interested in movie propaganda, check out Death Ship. There's a longer version on BitChute because they cut some of it for certain purposes years ago, I think to do with viewing it in Germany or something like that. They cut 7 minutes out, and there's one on YouTube. The one on YouTube is less. It's like 121 minutes. The one on BitChute is about it's an hour and a half, right? An extra 7 or 8 minutes in it. But if you're interested in propaganda and you're interested in World War II history and what they do to get you to think the way that you think, because the way that you think is not it doesn't originate from you. You understand? It originates from these movies. So movies like Death Ship are the reason why you have the view that you have on a certain part of history. So if you're interested in it, check the movie out. And as a movie itself, without the propaganda, right? If you just take that to the side, it's actually a pretty good film.